I'm gonna need you to sit down. And once you've sat down, I'm gonna need you to take this. Here's my hand. Because I need to hold your hand when I tell you this. Obsession is not the best horror movie of 2026. I know. I know. I know. I know. I get it. There is another movie out there that came out this year that, in my humble opinion, is even better than Obsession, and quite literally nobody is talking about it. And that is Leviticus. Now, we'll get into the whole Obsession versus this later because I know people are going to comment a lot about that. But prior to seeing this, I did think Obsession was the best horror movie to come out of this year. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, I was wrong. I was really, really, really wrong. So going into this, I knew nothing about this movie, and all I knew was that it was a romantic horror movie, and the premise of this one is a little bit different than what we've seen lately. This is a demonic entity that takes the shape of your loved one, your partner, whoever it is. And that was all I knew. And I already really liked Companion. I liked Obsession. I liked Together, those types of movies. So I really thought this was just going to be another one of those, just with a different problem, essentially. And the other difference was just that instead of a heterosexual couple, it was just two boys, like whatever. But I was really not expecting this to be as profound as it was. I wasn't expecting it to have such deeper meaning and to impact me in the way it did, especially because um like Obsession had a serious impact on me, but not in a good way because I unfortunately have been through things of that nature. So, of course, Obsession would stick with me. But this movie stuck with me, and it's not something I can personally relate to. So to me, that is more telling than anything. Like, I don't personally go through any of these issues, but this was done so well, and this movie was just so beautiful that it will always stick with me more so than something like Obsession did. And before we get into this, I do want to say if you have any issues with religious trauma and being gay and growing up in a religious environment, if you have any issues with conversion therapy, and I don't mean, oh, do you have an issue with it? Everybody should have an issue with conversion therapy. But I mean, if you are a victim of that or you're very close to that, or that's something that is like specifically very triggering to you, I don't know if you would want to watch the rest of this video, but I know you certainly wouldn't want to watch Leviticus. I am going to talk about Leviticus from start to finish. So, like, if you kind of want to know what it's about without watching it, like, I'll tell you. And it may not be as intense, but I think if you have problems with that type of thing, if that's very triggering to you, like, you're not going to want to watch this movie. I'm sorry. And I'm only saying that because I wish I had someone to tell me that before watching Obsession. Um, I didn't know how strongly related to grape and essay it would be. I'm posting this on YouTube, so I can't say the real words. But I didn't know how graphic it was going to be, and if I had known that, I wouldn't have seen it, to be completely honest with you. So if I can spare anyone that same feeling that I felt watching Obsession in theaters, if I can spare you that, don't watch Leviticus. But if you want to know what it's about, you can keep watching. I'll break it down the whole thing for you so you can basically know about it without actually watching it. Um so let's get this cracking. So starting off, we have Name, who is our protagonist here, and his father has just died, and him and his mother are now going to move and basically start over somewhere. And the mom has chosen a town that is like this very evangelical, uber religious town, okay? It's a small knit community, and all of them go to the same church. So Name is struggling to make friends, but he finally makes a friend, and he makes friends with this boy named Ryan. Name and Ryan are hanging out after school one day, and things get a little steamy, and this leads to Name's gay awakening, essentially. So, after this all happens, he just had his first kiss with this boy, and he's so happy, and he has a crush on him. He's walking around one day, and he sees that same boy he just kissed a few days ago kissing another boy. And he's not just kissing any boy, okay? Ryan is making out with Hunter. And who the hell is Hunter? Hunter is the pastor's son. And as many adults know, the pastor's son in a community like this is not one you want to mess with. And Name doesn't know any better. Clearly, that's why I said as adults, we know the implications of that. He doesn't really realize it. In the heat of the moment, he is so just blinded by jealousy and just teenage boy hormones and first loves and all that, that he runs to the pastor's house and essentially he snitches on Hunter and Ryan. So his plan is to get the pastor to forbid them to be together because obviously that's a sin in their religion. And then Name will have Ryan all to himself. And my poor, sweet, naive little boy doesn't understand that that's not how things go in communities like this. Okay. So after it's reported, we have the ritual. So there's the ceremony that takes place. It appears to be like honestly like an exorcism, really. That the whole community is involved and everyone in the church is there, including Name, who even though he anonymously reported this, like he knows he did it. So he's already feeling guilty about it because it didn't go the way that he planned. But so now he's in this weird ritual exorcism thing. And it's the whole 9 yards. Like, I'm going to put my hand on your head and say something in tongues. And then we're going to have you have a seizure and then you're going to be fine. So that's essentially what happened. But after that, after the gay demon has been exorcised from these boys, because that's always how that works. It's just a little gay demon inside of you. And then if you get it out, it's done. You're not gay, right? That's how that goes. So after the fact, it's a couple days, and Name is keeping an eye on them, and he's noticing that they're starting to act really weird. Like, not just, oh, I went through a traumatic experience of being in an exorcism as a teenage boy. It's like even weirder than that. He sees Hunter and Ryan both on separate occasions talking to somebody that's not there, kissing someone that's not there, like basically like just getting freaky with something that's not there, and it's very odd. One of these instances, though, he actually witnesses the disappearance of Hunter. He watches Hunter talk to someone who's not there, throw things at that thing that's not there. He then takes off his shirt, starts making out with somebody that's not there. And then he gets like levitated up into the air as if he's getting like choked out and picked up and then thrown to the ground. And then he's dragged into the dark, into the woods of this gas station that he's working at. And we never see him again. And so after this, Name is like, yeah, no, this is not right. So he is with Ryan again, and the two of them are looking for answers. And they find this girl who also went through the same exorcism, basically, that they went through. And they find out that this is not your typical exorcism. Matter of fact, this is actually like a reverse exorcism, kind of. Like, the gay demon wasn't taken out of them, the gay demon was actually attached to them. So she reveals that this happened to her and her girlfriend years ago, and her girlfriend went missing. And she found out that her girlfriend was seeing her, but it wasn't actually her, and then went missing. So she finds out that, okay, this entity is really good at appearing like whoever you're in love with. It could be your girlfriend, it could be your gym teacher, it could be a celebrity. It's whoever you love and desire the most. It knows that and it mirrors them. So that way, it can get you alone, it can get you in an intimate moment and then kill you. So she found out that it can attack you if you're alone. Like that's why it looks like who you love, so that way it can get you by yourself. It can get you in the middle of basically having sex when your guard is so down and then kill you. So she spends all of her time at a hospital now, even though she's not admitted. She just genuinely sits there because there's always people at a hospital, and that's how she survived. So the boys find this out, and of course, there's no way to get rid of it. You just have to live with it and just stay with people, and that's how she's survived. That's what she tells them. And so Name decides to go to the police and tell them everything about this, that like, hey, like me and my boyfriend are like dealing with this thing where like this cult has like put a curse on us and like attached a demon to us, and this demon is like making kids go missing around the area, and it's because they're gay and blah blah blah. And the cops, of course, don't believe him because it sounds like a crazy story. But the other issue is that the cops tell his mother that he's with Ryan. So now Name's mom knows that he's gay, and the ritual is now done to Name as well. And we have this scene where this is where it really kicked in for me, that it really was about conversion therapy in general, or even if you don't want to accept that, you could even say like those weird like wilderness camps. But it's the scene in the car with the mom and Name, and they're talking, and she's kind of like pressing him about the fact that he's gay, and he's like, no, I'm not, and all this stuff. And then these big dudes open the car doors and like kidnap him out of the car. And obviously, plain as day, we know what we're looking at. That's when it clicked for me. I was like, oh wow, like this is serious. And so they get him, they do the ritual on him. Now he has the thing coming after him as well, and it looks like Ryan. So the two of them are together, and the thing looks like each other. So they're kind of navigating, like, oh shit, like, is this actually you? Is this not you? Like, they're kind of dealing with like the psychological torture of that. Like, is this actually him or is this the demon? And there's a point in the movie. So the sister of Hunter, the pastor's daughter now, at one point later on, ends up setting up the boys to get like jumped and stuff because Hunter is found dead. His decapitated head is found like somewhere like near the gas station that he worked and disappeared at. And the pastor has decided to like skip town and says that like it's all Name's fault and all Ryan's fault because Ryan made his son gay and Name outed his son. So like if the two of them had never said anything, then none of this would have happened and then he wouldn't have to leave. So he leaves behind his daughter. The daughter sets up Name and Ryan because now she's like, all right, well, my dad left me because of you two. So I'm going to have these boys jump you. And they just want to jump them because they don't like gay boys. They're homophobic. So while this is happening, though, or before they get beat up, she kind of essentially tells on Name to Ryan. And so they get beat up. Ryan finds out that Name is the one who told on them and is the reason all of this is happening. And then they break up after this. So they have this period of time apart where Name is just with his mom and he's left alone in the house, and the thing tries to kill him, and he's trying to explain to her like, you cannot leave me alone, like ever since that happened, like this thing has been following me and trying to kill me. And the mom is just like, I don't believe you. Like, stop lying to me and making up stories and make yourself dinner tonight. So he is trying to be around people. And then he takes off following the demon into like the place where they actually first met, the mill where Ryan and Name like kissed and everything. And he like traps him in there, the demon. He traps it in there, sets it on fire because he did find that like fire, like it has some kind of sensitivity to it. When he attacked it and then put a lighter under it, it actually went off of him. So he burns the building, and then this is such a heartbreaking scene, and I think from this point on, I would consider it to be spoilers. So if you don't want to know the ending, don't keep watching. But so they're outside of the thing. They're looking for Ryan because at this point now he's missing. And he's with his mother, Name, and he asks, like, do you know what they did to me? Like, did they tell you? What did they tell you? And she doesn't exactly tell him like what they told her, but she does allude to the fact that she knows that this like weird demon thing is trying to get him. She just doesn't care. She says to him something like, I'm gonna butcher this, but she's like, I'm not gonna be around forever. And one day you're gonna need that fear to motivate you, or something like that. Something along the lines of, like, you need to be afraid of being gay. It will be good for you. Like, she basically just admits to him that she's okay with him being put in harm's way and potentially, probably gonna die pretty soon because of this thing, because she would rather him be dead than be gay, basically. So at this point, Name decides to run away. And when he runs away, he is, like, oddly enough, reunited with Ryan at the bus stop. And they get on the bus together and they leave. And that's it. And to me, that is a happy ending. And I normally don't really like happy endings in horror movies because, excuse me, they're usually not done properly, or they just don't make sense, or the story would just be better if it ended horrifically. This is the first time in a horror movie where I actually wanted a happy ending to happen, and this was the best way to present it, because it's not the like type of corny happy ending that's like, oh, they got rid of the demon and now they're happily ever after. No, like, it is open-ended. The demon is still there. Like, actually, when they're leaving, they drive, and then you can see in the window Name and Ryan are sitting together, but Name turns his head and looks out the window, and the entity is out there, but Ryan's in here. So it's still following them. It's still there. It's still present. They just, obviously, we can infer they plan to just be together all the time, and then if they're together all the time, that thing won't get them. But it's an open-ended happy ending. Like, it's happy in the sense that they get away from this town, these oppressive people, this horrible mother who knew what she was doing to her son, and she knew the effects, but she just was so brainwashed that she thought that that trauma of having that fucking demon following him is better for him than being gay. Like, it just, they got up, they said, fuck this town, and they left. And that is like the happiest thing I can imagine in this scenario. That is the best thing. It's the only thing I wanted. And I was so happy at the end of this. And I just, I truly, 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 truly don't understand why we aren't talking about this movie enough. And I want to almost say it's because it is about like gay love, and it is a metaphor to the conversion therapy and all that type of stuff. But like, you bitches love gay stuff now all of a sudden. Like, we've clocked that. Don't worry. Like, all of you who love heated rivalry. So, like, we can't use that. We can't say that nobody's watching this because nobody wants to watch, like, two boys kiss, because clearly the people love that. So I don't know why we're not talking about that. Maybe it's the fact that it's not just like a gay romance. It's like a gay romance that leads to like some very sinister things and like points out the like horrible nature of these churches and how they treat gay boys and girls. Maybe it's because of that nobody wants to talk about it, but like, we've had so many like religious horror movies that like point out like crazy things, or just any horror movies in general, like, and people eat that shit up. So I don't know why we're not talking about this. Like, part of me wonders if it's because like Obsession just got talked about so much that like people were just kind of not really caring about any other horror movies around the time, because I do think that they came out around similar time frames. But Like, here's why I strongly believe that Leviticus is better than Obsession. Obsession was a really good movie, in my opinion. I could not ever watch it again. I couldn't do it. I like to watch movies multiple times. That's one I will never watch again. Um, but it went over a majority of people's heads. And I don't think a lot of people were ready to consume it and to appreciate it the way it should have been. I also think some parts of it were a little distasteful, but again, for this generation and for the audience that's going to see it, like the scene where Nikki is being non-consensually, you know, um like you do need to spell it out for this generation, and even still it was spelled out for you. She was like completely inanimate and was like, I think like her like inner self was like screaming for help or something too, if I remember correctly, and people still laughed at that and thought that it was funny. They thought it was funny, and even having it spelled out so blatantly obvious, people missed it. I think also the fact too that it was like, oh, like, is Bear the victim? Like, is Nikki actually crazy? Like, that whole discourse, like, all of that is why I don't find it to be better than Leviticus. Leviticus is, again, it comments on something so heavy, because if you know anything about conversion therapy, I say this as somebody who has gone through what Nikki went through in that one scene. I do believe I would rather go through that again than go through conversion therapy. I haven't been through both, but I have been through one, and one was so traumatic and awful, but the other seems like a whole different genre of it. I would rather have the first thing happen to me again. Conversion therapy, if you aren't aware, they still do it to this day too, which is another huge issue. They essentially will, kind of like you've seen with the like wilderness camps and stuff like that for like the troubled teens. Like most of the times I feel like they do like kidnap you kind of, but your parents are like letting them do it, but they like put a bag over your head and take you somewhere in the middle of the night and bring you to a camp. Sometimes they straight up tell you like you're going to this and it's going to fix you. But either way, like I read like not a story, but like somebody had written about it and like their own experience, and they were actually like locked in a cage and like dumped water on them and then froze them and then like electrocuted them, like just imagine like Guantanamo Bay, essentially like CIA levels of like torture and brutality, and they're doing this to children. They're almost always children and teens. I haven't heard many adults go through it, but I'd imagine if you're an adult, it may be elective and it may be a little bit different. Um, but they're torturing children, and they think that torturing the gay out of them is effective. And it's not. A lot of these children get also assaulted there by, go figure, same sex, the church. They like to touch little boys always. But then the little boys that they're touching, they want to send them to conversion therapy. Like, it's so crazy. But they go there, they get like physically assaulted, they get sexually assaulted. Some of them die, some of them kill themselves. And then the ones that come home, it's like coming home from war. They come home and they're traumatized to the nth degree. So the fact that we have a movie that is even ballsy enough to touch on conversion therapy, to me, is so important. It is so important that we talk about this movie. And like I said earlier, I know Obsession is supposed to be a commentary on rape culture, but something about the way this movie was done, Leviticus, the way Leviticus was done, getting across its message about conversion therapy and homophobia and religious trauma, to me it was more effective. Like it stuck with me more. Obsession kind of just re-traumatized me again. Like, yeah, he did a good job at like depicting like, being used against your will, but like it just, I don't know. I hate to say it, but like it kind of almost gives me like those movies that are just gross for the sake of being gross, or it's just gore for the sake of being gory. They'll have brutal SA scenes just for the sake of having a brutal SA scene, like for shock value. I feel like Obsession is almost a dialed down version of that. I do think that. I think it is, I don't know. And I'm afraid to say anything bad about it because I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. I think Curry Barker is great. I have been watching him since the YouTube shorts, like Milk and Cereal. Amazing. So, like, there's no shade to him. I just think the topic of that movie, the way that it was actually done and executed, and then the way that, like, the public spoke about it really impacted the overall like movie for me. And I also don't think the movie was enjoyable to watch. I really don't. It was a hard watch. It was so hard. At least with Leviticus, like, you have your main characters that you are rooting for. You want things to work out. Yes, in the beginning, Name kind of was a little questionable, and he did do something horrible that led to all of this happening. He outed someone out of jealousy, which is disgusting, but you still feel so bad for him, and he's a child at the end of the day. It's not like Bear, who's a grown-ass man and an incel, that they want you to feel bad for, but you shouldn't, and I personally don't. This is a teenage boy who is dealing with his first love. He's also dealing with the hardship of being gay in a super religious community. There's so much that's going into that. So of course he's going to mess up and make wrong decisions, and you're still rooting for him at the end of the day. You're still rooting for Ryan at the end of the day, even though he may have like cheated on him with the pastor's son, whatever. Like, there's still characters that are relatable and likable, and you want them to succeed. The ending, like, they do say, like, everything that they went through, the trauma of the exorcism and everything, they went through it for a purpose. They went through all of that to find themselves, find out who they are, realize that their families and their community that they're in are actually not good for them. They're finding out that love is stronger than fear. Like, their love for each other is stronger than their fear of this demon. It's stronger than their fear of their community rejecting them. Like, all of the horrible things they went through were for a purpose, a good purpose. With Obsession, everything that she went through was for nothing. And she actually continued to suffer in the end. Now, like I said earlier, I usually don't like happy endings in horror movies. Usually they aren't done well, they don't make sense, they're kind of a cop-out, whatever. But, so like, with Obsession, I do think that's one also that could have had a happy ending. Like, it would have benefited from that. Like, poor Nikki, like, could we have maybe just not had the cops come right away? Or, you know what I mean? But, like, it feels like all of that happened. These heavy topics were explored and thrown in your face just for nothing, for no reason, just to shock you, just to get you to talk about it. Like, if that scene of her body being used against her will happened so that way later on she could get her body back and like get revenge or something, like, okay, it was a SA scene that needed to happen for a reason, so that way the ending could feel more triumphant. No, all of that just happened just to happen, just to be horrible and dark and depressing and to make you feel bleak. If you actually have a brain cell when you watch that movie, that's how you should leave feeling. But I know a lot of people, it went right over the heads and they thought it was funny and silly and crazy and, oh, can I get a one wish below? But this isn't about Obsession. Anyways, this is why I think Leviticus is the best horror movie to come out of 2026 so far. I do think it's better than Obsession. And I think more people need to talk about it. I think more people need to watch it. I don't understand why it's not getting the love that it deserves. Adrian Chiarella, you are a mastermind. You are a genius. I feel like a female writer and a female director, I'm sorry, they're always going to get it every time. They're always going to do it right. Like if we had a female director for Obsession, sorry. I'm sorry. And I love Curry Barker. I love Curry Barker. But like if we had Adrian Chiarella remake Obsession, it would be 100 times better. But that being said, I really, really, really encourage you to go watch this if that's your type of thing. If you like horror, if you are okay and you're able to stomach the conversion therapy of it all, the religious trauma of it all, if you can handle that, I really, really, really recommend watching this movie. And if you do watch it, let me know what you think, because I have no one to talk to about this. I have to make a fucking 30-minute YouTube video to get my thoughts out because nobody's watching this and nobody's talking about this. It's making me so angry. But anyways, Leviticus, you have my heart. Adrian Chiarella, you're amazing. You are such a great director. The movie itself was beautiful. Like, you know what you're doing, girl. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Keep it up. And I can't wait to see more from you. And thank you for watching. To anybody who's got this far, go watch Leviticus. That's it. That's really all I have to say. Thanks.